There is something you need to do right now. Maybe it is studying for a test tomorrow. Maybe it is editing your next video. Maybe it is finishing a course you told yourself you would complete in a week. You know exactly what it is, and you are not doing it. Instead, you are scrolling, or staring at the ceiling, or doing literally anything else. And somewhere in the back of your mind, that low hum of guilt is running quietly while you pretend it is not there. You have probably told yourself you are lazy. You are not lazy. Lazy people do not feel guilty. Lazy people do not think about the thing they are avoiding every single day. What is happening to you has a name. It has a cause. And once you understand it, the whole problem looks completely different. And this is why you procrastinate. And this is how to finally stop. Go back thousands of years. Your ancestors lived in caves. They woke up every morning with a list of things they had to do just to survive. Find food, gather water, collect wood for fire, protect the group. None of these things could be bought from a mall or ordered online. Every single task was urgent. Every single task had an immediate consequence if it was not done. There was no such thing as doing it tomorrow. Tomorrow you might not eat. Tomorrow the fire might go out. Tomorrow a predator might come. Your brain was built in that world. It was wired for urgent, immediate, survival-critical tasks with clear rewards and clear consequences. It was never designed for writing a script, studying for an exam, or completing an online course, where the reward is weeks or months away and nothing immediately terrible happens if you skip today. And here's what nobody tells you. After a hard day of surviving, your ancestors would sit together in front of the fire and talk. They shared stories. They described the volcanic eruption they witnessed, the new birds they saw in the sky. They drew on cave walls with sticks and stones and plants just to communicate in detail. Connection, creativity, and rest were the reward at the end of real work. Your brain still expects that rhythm. Work hard, then rest and connect. The problem is that in the modern world, the line between work and rest is blurred. Your phone offers a reward before the work is done, and your ancient brain takes it every single time. So what actually happens when you sit down to study, or open your laptop to edit, or pull up that online course? Your brain scans a task and detects an emotional threat. Maybe the task is boring. Maybe it feels overwhelming. Maybe finishing it means being judged, and failing feels possible. The moment that threat is detected, your brain does not think about productivity. It does not think about your goals. It looks for the fastest exit from the uncomfortable feeling. And the fastest exit is always right there in your pocket. Your phone, a show, a snack, sleep. The relief is instant. The guilt comes later. And your brain, built on ancient wiring, always chooses the immediate reward over the distant consequence. This is not weakness. This is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is that every time you avoid a task, you do not just delay it. You make the avoidance a habit, a loop that runs automatically the next time the same uncomfortable feeling appears. And that loop gets faster and stronger every single time you use it. There is something else happening too. Research by the Russian psychologist Bluma Zygarnik showed that unfinished tasks stay open in your brain like tabs that never close. Every task you are avoiding is quietly running in the background of your mind, draining your mental energy, making it harder to focus, harder to rest, harder to enjoy anything else you do. You think you are relaxing when you scroll, but your brain is still half processing the unfinished task behind the screen. The more you avoid, the more exhausted you feel. And the more exhausted you feel, the harder it is to start. This is a loop. This is why avoiding it makes everything worse. But there are 5 things that actually break the loop. Not willpower, not motivation, not guilt. These 5 techniques work on the actual problem, which is the emotion, not the task. The first technique is called temptation bundling. It was studied by Catherine Milkman at the Wharton School of Business. The idea is simple. You pair the task you are avoiding with something you genuinely enjoy. You only listen to your favorite music or podcast when you are studying. You only go to your favorite coffee shop when you're editing your video. You only watch one episode of your favorite show after you complete one module of the course. What this does is change how the task feels before you begin. Your brain stops registering it as a pure threat. It becomes a mixed experience. And mixed is something your brain can walk toward. The second technique is self-compassion. Research by Kristen Neff at the University of Texas showed that being harsh on yourself after procrastinating actually makes you procrastinate more next time. When you tell yourself you are useless and lazy, you generate more negative emotion, which makes the task feel more threatening, which makes the avoidance response fire faster. When you acknowledge what happened without punishing yourself for it, you lower the emotional temperature of the task. Stopping the self-blame is not letting yourself off the hook. The third technique is called implementation intentions, studied by Peter Gallwitzer at New York University. Vague plans almost never happen. I will study this week. I will edit tomorrow. I will start the course soon. Your brain has no trigger for these. But specific if-then plans dramatically increase follow-through. Not I will study this week, but on Saturday at 10 a.m., I will sit at my desk and open my textbook to page 1. The specificity removes the decision moment, and the decision moment is exactly where the avoidance loop hijacks you. If the decision is already made, there is nothing left for your brain to evaluate and escape from. The fourth technique is the 2-minute rule. The hardest part of any task is not the task itself. It is the moment before you start. Your brain generates its strongest avoidance response right before beginning, not during the actual work. So the rule is not to commit to finishing the task. It is to commit to just 2 minutes of it, with full permission to stop. Open the document and write 1 sentence. Read 1 page. Record 30 seconds of footage. Most of the time you will keep going past 2 minutes, not because of discipline. The fifth technique is to make your future self feel real. Research by Hal Hirschfield at UCLA showed that when people think about their future self, their brain treats that person more like a stranger than like themselves. When you say, I will do it tomorrow, you are handing the problem to someone you do not fully identify with. Someone whose stress and consequences do not feel real to you yet. The fix is to make that person concrete. Imagine in detail what your life looks like the day after the test if you did not study. Imagine watching your channel grow if you finish and post a video. Imagine where you could be in 3 months if you actually complete the course. The more real that future person feels, the harder it becomes to keep dumping your unfinished work on them. None of these 5 techniques require willpower. Willpower is the wrong tool for this problem. It is a finite resource that depletes under stress, which is exactly the condition procrastination creates. Every technique that works on procrastination works by lowering the emotional cost of beginning, not by forcing you through the discomfort, by reducing the discomfort until starting feels possible. Your ancestors sat around the fire every night, not because they had earned it, but because rest, connection, and story were part of the rhythm. Work was hard and immediate and real. Rest was deep and genuine and deserved. The guilt you feel when you scroll for 4 hours is not laziness. It is your ancient brain trying to tell you that you skipped the work and went straight to the reward. And some part of you already knows it. The task is still there. It has not grown. What has grown is the emotional weight around it, built up by every cycle of avoidance and guilt. And the way to shrink, that weight is not to push harder. It is to change what the task feels like, one small step at a time, until starting becomes easier than not starting. You are not lazy. You never were. Your brain was doing exactly what was built to do in a world it was never designed for. Now you know what is actually happening. And that is where everything changes. Procrastination is not something which you can't escape. It is neither something which is built in within you,